So there's so much in it right now.
Hi. All right, we are live. Hi, everyone.
Hi,
Hi.
this is so exciting. Happy Global Bug Splashing Day. Is that the appropriate way to announce it?
Yeah, we're excited to be here with everyone today. March 22nd, it is Koha's Global Bug Squashing Day. Try saying that a million times fast.
Seriously.
Um, my name is Jessie Zarrow. I'm here with
Kelly McElligott.
excited to be here with everyone today. March 22nd, it is Koha's Global Bug Squashing Day. Try saying that a million times. That's all right. We were just testing to make sure we were live streaming. So everyone's with us. You might see a little delay. We'll be probably 15 seconds before you.
Okay.
All right, here we go. So we have an exciting morning ready for you. We are going to start the day off just by talking a little bit about what Koha's Global Bug Squashing Day is. So if you're all following along with us, there is a Koha Wiki community page that talks all about what the day is. And these days are meant to be when the community just dedicates time and effort to working on open bugs within the community. As you know, in May, we will release the 2405 release of Koha. So this is a collaborative effort where we all get together and we sign off and we interact with each other that we can make this day happen. So today, Kelly, Elise, and I will talk about everything from the introduction to Bugzilla, how it works, and how things happen. We will go through creating an account in Bugzilla, commenting, creating bugs, and then we'll get into the juicy stuff. We will bring up a sandbox and we will actually sign off on a bug. And we'll talk about commenting and everything in between. So there is a tool that you can use throughout the day. This is called the Koha dashboard. It's just dashboard.koha-community.org. And this allows you to essentially see in real time what needs sign off, meaning that the enhancement or the bug needs to be tested, what needs QA, and that's going to be quality assurance. Kelly's going to go into more of this, and what needs documentation. So this is a great resource to have open. Again, it's just dashboard.koha-community.org. We'll also just kind of give like a quick refresher of what the Koha development lifecycle looks like. So the first piece that you have is the contributions. This is where we'll be talking about Koha, where people can submit, feedback, enhancements, requests, and developers, librarians, and users worldwide can communicate back and forth. Then we go into the second piece, the testing, and that's what we're going to show you today. This is where community members get together. They make sure that the functionality works. If it doesn't work, they provide the feedback to get to a place where we can test again and make sure it works. You have an amazing group of volunteers that do quality assurance. This is making sure that once that enhancement or the bug or the change is acted on, that it's not breaking anything else within the system. We're making sure that it works and it's communicating with all the other modules and pieces of Koha. Then you have the release manager who will go in and make sure that the final set of testing is good and then pushes that through to the next Koha release. And then once that item is released, it has access to all users in the community. So if you think about it, that one idea from a library or an individual or a user is now released to the entire community. So users worldwide have access to that information. So it's just an incredible process. And the entire Bywater staff is so excited to be part of this day and be part of the community. So now I'm going to turn it over to Kelly, and she's going to give us an introduction to Bugzilla.
Thanks, Jessie. What a great introduction. And I think that we should, really just reflect on community a little bit, just, talking about why we all come together on these events, working together. It's because we're all here for a common purpose, and that's working with the community, working with the libraries, and making our software better so we can help those patrons in those communities. When I was an educator, I would go on site, I would talk about Bugzilla like, we all have our devices, our computers or cell phones. And I think it was always big when you got new little emojis, and everyone would notice if there was a missing emoji, like the avocado or like a lobster or whatever. Wouldn't it be great if you had that place to be like, Dear Apple, I would love to see a lobster appear on my emojis. And that's truly what you have as a power user at Koha to be able to submit something to the community. It may seem so trivial to have a lobster. However, somebody else in Maine may go, oh, I also want a lobster because that's important to my, tourism and industry. So it's just a matter of building that community and finding your people to say, like, let's all work together. And we're going to really focus on that today. But I always like a little shout out to our peeps out there in the world. Okay. So I will have, Elise will throw this link in there. This is for Bugzilla. So this is Koha's dedicated place to store all the things that we want to improve, enhance, and fix within the Koha community. This is the main page. You can have access to this whether you have an account or not. You can easily search within the system. You do not need an account. It's great to be able to come in here and say, what's going on? Or is this something that somebody else has submitted? And we're going to talk about all that today. So this main page, easy peasy. You have this search box, like a Google search. If you had a bug number you knew, and somebody had talked about one in maybe a Koha US special interest group, and you're just starting off and you're learning about this, if somebody talked about a bug, you could just type in that bug number and it's going to bring you to that bug. If you were curious about a bug in a specific area within Koha, you could certainly type in a word, 2 words, a system preference, a term in Koha you're seeing somewhere, anything that would bring something back that's been identified in the Koha system. You also have some nice little icons here. If you want to file a bug, search again. I'm going to go into preferences in a second. And then quick link to the dashboard that Jesse already did is right here as well. So if I were to click this, I'm actually going to go right to that dashboard. So an easy spot. If you bookmark this, you have access to everything. If I click the search button, just searching, that broad thing about patrons, I have a nice view of what I see in the view. On the left-hand side are all the bug numbers, and they're clickable. So you can see there's my bug number 36139. I can see a few details such as it's in Koha, the component, the person that it's assigned to, the status, and the summary. And that's really important because when we dig into, and I'm going to pull up a bug that I've already found, when we dig into a bug that we found, or we want to follow, or we want to comment, or we want to make anything, you're going to be able to get a lot of information on this one page. You can see the status. The status is super important. We're talking about global bug squashing today. So what we want to squash is the bugs that are in needs sign off. Those are the most important because they have gone through, as Jesse talked about that development cycle, they've gone through a lot of the processes and they really need a second or a third pair of eyes on this before it can get pushed further into the newest release. My status is needs documenting, which means it's actually already, for those watching and super excited, place holds on for patrons on accepted purchase suggestions, which I'm really excited about. This status has passed needs sign off. It's pushed to master, and now it's getting documented in the Koha manual. So super exciting. I do want to note here that I reported this in 2021. So I filed this bug, and I always think it's an amazing opportunity when you file a bug and it comes into the community. So I had to use this one. So I can see who and when it was reported. Then I have, again, those products, components. The other one that's important is when we're looking at creating a bug later on today, we're going to talk about importance. importance is kind of important to identify because you can mark something like an enhancement. Like this would be great if Koha could do this. But if it is something that is causing problems in your system, you can absolutely say, hey, this is something big. Like this is a blocker. This is an issue. And that's going to get more priority than, say, my enhancement of like, wouldn't it be great? So realize that there is a level of importance in that Bugzilla kind of chain of command. A couple of other things that I like to look at when I'm looking at a bug is, hey, if there is some other kind of bugs connected to it because they work on each other. Maybe I'm looking for a piece of something that another bug is going to solve, and then therefore mine can get solved. And that would be depends on here. I don't have any. I can see who's worked on it. I can see, oh, there's some C also. So I could look at those bugs and see what else is going on. I'll look at those in another tab for y'all. What's this one? Suggestion from existing title can alert patron in error. Okay, interesting. If I scroll down a little bit, I may not get a lot of information in that title. I may need to go a little bit further, and I'm just going to scroll a little bit. And usually it's in this first comment that's going to be the actual introductory part of the bug. This is the first person that filed that bug. So if I go back to the bug that I filed and I slowly scroll down a bit, you can see that I created this in 2021, and I kind of gave an overview of what I would like to see what happens in Koha. If this was something like a blocker or something that was critical, I may go through the step process to say, I did this and I did this, and this is what happened. So I can give a bigger view of the person that's going to work on it. Because the more important details that we give in the Bugzilla enhancement or blocker is going to help those contributors to Koha. Okay, I'm going to scroll back up. What I love about kind of following bugs is that you can get updates. So if something moved on to the next stage, if somebody placed a patch, or if it went to need sign off, if it went through those stages in the status, I could be alerted, or anybody can be alerted. To be able to be alerted on a bug, right here is this CC list. Now, you have to be logged in to get an alert for this. Once you're logged in, and you can see I'm logged in up here, I can say, add me to the CC list, and then I would be able to follow the bug. If I was trying to add it for somebody else, if I knew there was a library that was interested in following this bug, I can go ahead and add another email in here. Maybe I want to invite my coworker Elise, and I can add her email right here, and then she would get those updates on those bugs. Now I can assure you, I do not check my bug emails every day. I put them in a little folder and I like to like cull through them, but it's really great to get those big alerts to say, hey, it needs sign off, or it's coming into this version here. So this is another nice piece is 2405, it's coming. So this little enhancement that was filed is coming in the next version 2405, which is really exciting. I want to just talk about these, right here, these statuses a little bit, but because this one is in needs documenting, I don't want to mess with it too much, but once you create a bug, it's going to go to the new status. So then it's just new. Once it has been identified as maybe something that has a patch attached to it and it needs sign off, then it would go to need sign off, and that would stay in that to get people to contribute to that. It could also go to other statuses such as needs comments or failed QA. So needs comment, maybe there is a bug out there that could go a lot of different ways, that we'd like a lot of different opinions on what's the best way to make something work in Koha. And we would like comments from librarians out there on how this is going to affect their workflows. And that's a great opportunity to give your contributions to that specific bug itself. Now, when we're going through the signing off process and maybe our bug doesn't work, our patch doesn't work, and we cannot get the workflow to work as it says, then we would have to use a status like it failed, that we're not able to go through the process. So there's quite a few stages that goes through in the Bugzilla process, but it's so important to know how much you can make a difference and contribute to Koha. Another thing that I want to point out is there is a way to customize the look of your Bugzilla if you want. I don't know how long this has been around, but once I'm logged in, I don't know if Jessie's laughing at me or she's laughing at people. I'm not in YouTube, so I have no idea what anyone's saying.
Yep. People are excited to be here.
Oh, good, good, good. And they noticed we're wearing our matching shirts, obviously, right?
Supporting Koha US.
Koha US. If you go into preferences, and this is once you have an account, you can change a lot of things. I've never changed any of these things ever until I was probably Zooming with, I think, Lucas with Bywater, and he had a different look to his Bugzilla. And I was like, oh, I want that. So there is a different way to look at Bugzilla if you want this really fantastic way of looking at it. It's just kind of a zoomed up, doesn't, you know, it's up to everybody else what they like. The one more thing, I think I'm good. One more thing that I want to point out is on the bottom of this main page. And again, if you do have an account in Bugzilla, and we're going to go into that, you can actually see all the bugs that you reported. So if you're like, oh, what was that bug that I submitted? Because that's usually what I say. I can actually go back to the bugs that I've created and look at those. So I can certainly see any bugs that I created myself and look at those through this process. So if you hate emails, you know you can always get to that information directly from Bugzilla. You can always come in here and do a search that way. Okay. I'm going to pass it over to Jessie because I really like zoomed this creating an account up. Like I made it like the biggest thing since, you know, white bread. So here we go.
Now that Kelly has done an absolutely beautiful job giving us an overview of Bugzilla, now we are going to go through the process of creating a Bugzilla account. So for our first-time users out there that are following along with us, we do have a Monday Minutes that goes over all things creating a Bugzilla account, and we're going to talk about that right now. And this will show you everything from, you know, creating an account, setting it up, and walking you through that whole process within the system. Elise will share that link in YouTube, and this will give you a good head start. So we're going to come over to Bugzilla now, and at the top of the page, you'll see a couple links. We're going to hover and click on that new account. That will take us in here where it tells us exactly what's going to happen. You enter in your email address, you hit submit, and then you'll receive an email that will allow you to essentially confirm the creation of your account. Once you set that information in, you'll be able to then log into the system. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to log in. Now here we go on the fly, entering passwords, which always makes me nervous if I typed it in right. And we did. So as Kelly showed us in the previous one, I have also changed the skin of Bugzilla. I love this new look that our friends and partners at PTFS Europe have worked on to make it look, give it a new look. So today what we'll focus on essentially is commenting on those bugs and how we could really provide feedback for our staff, for our librarians, for our developers out there to make sure that we really grasp the concept of what's happening. The most important part of being a part of the community is really giving that feedback, right? Koha means it's a gift, and we want to all share in that gift by helping it become the best ILS out there, and your feedback is crucial to making that happen. So we have actually pulled up a bug that we want to take a look at. So we're going to come over here and we're going to type in bug 22740. And we'll start with this one as an example. So once we pull this bug up, you'll see that this is called automatically change loss status when an item is paid for. So Kelly gave a great overview telling us kind of what the components of Bugzilla are. So now let's go down and focus a little bit on the progression of this particular bug and enhancement in the system. So we can see that Marty actually started this bug back in 2019. And this is talking about when patrons pay for a lost item, staff have to make the change of the lost status from lost or long lost overdue to lost and paid for. And what they're saying is it would be really nice if it could be specified and updated. And this is a perfect example of individuals coming in and making comments to tell the developers or whoever will write this patch why this is important. So you can see Kim really likes this change. As we scroll through, we can see Andrew has made a change. And then there's a lot of conversation back and forth. Rebecca, Jeff, Sarah, and then Marty even coming back to talk about PayPal payments. Carolyn, Wally, and then Katrin coming in to say what we need to do to make this happen. Finally, we can also see that Aspen Cat, which is Clicks Consortium, has also made a comment. So this is a beautiful example of how comments really help the developers, or again, whoever's writing this patch, to truly understand why this would make the workflow easier in Koha. And that's what we want. We want to be able to see that information so the individual can come in here and begin that process. Now, if we wanted to make a comment, we could come right in here and then begin to write that information. It will then give you a preview so you can see what's posting. If it's important, you could also add an attachment, maybe an image. For those of you that are part of Koha US, the acquisitions SIG just met earlier in the week and they submitted a new bug. And I saw that Rhonda also attached an image. So or a doc that you could see the image that explains the workflow. That is so important. That really, really helps people understand. So when you're composing comments, tell the individuals that are reading this why the suggestions that are being made are helpful to you, how it can help your workflow, why it would make a difference. This information is crucial to help us understand what's happening. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about signing off on particular items. We're going to go back to that same bug that Kelly was talking about earlier, bug 27595, which is place holds for patrons on accepted purchase suggestions. So as we scroll down a little bit, we can see again, Kelly submitted this back in 2021. If we scroll through a little bit, we can see all of those great comments. Nick makes a patch and attaches that back in 2023. And then we can see that Andrew signed off on it. So once that patch is submitted, this opens up the opportunity for individuals, it doesn't matter who it is, as long as it's not the person that wrote the patch, can come in and begin that process of testing it. So in this case, Nick wrote the patch, and then Andrew, who's at Dubuque County in Iowa, hi Andrew, was able to come in here and test it. This allows him to either say that, yes, this works as expected, or no, it does not work as expected. And that's where you need to tell people, like, if it doesn't work as expected, you can fail that, because this then opens the doors to go back and make sure that the patch has been written correctly. So you don't always have to sign it off. If it doesn't work as expected, we need that same information to see how we can fix it or how we can make it better. So as we see here, the second sign-off came by Kelly. So then Kelly went in. So that gives us 2 sign-offs by an individual. What happens next is once they see those 2 sign-offs, a member from the quality assurance team can come in and then check that information. So we can see Martin comes in and checks that information. Hi, Martin, if you're watching, he's at PTFS Europe. And then as we scroll down a little bit further, we can see that he said this was a great addition and he is passing QA. So that is the next step. Now that we've seen that happen, it passes QA. Now we can see there's some information passed from Katrin. Katrin leaves some beautiful feedback for both Nick and Martin. And then if we scroll down a little bit further, Katrin pushes it to 2405. Hi, Katrin. She is our current release manager for Koha, and we're super excited. So this will be pushed to 2405, as Kelly mentioned earlier. And because it's an enhancement, it will not be backported. So again, what that means is generally for enhancements, they will just go into the next release. If it is a crucial fix to the system, then generally things will be backported, meaning if you're on an older version of Koha, it will then be updated in one of the point releases. Point releases come out every month, and those allow us to update your system. So now you understand why it's crucial to make those comments, give updates to the developers and the individuals that are writing those patches within the system. All right, so now let's go through the fun part. We're actually going to create a bug within the system. So I'm going to come back and we're going to go to the home page, and we're going to click on this first link, which is file a bug. So in this case, we're going to talk about the reports module. So I'm going to take a time out and we're going to go over to our reports module. And for those of you that follow Monday Minutes, you know that Kelly and I both love the Mana database in the reports module, which allows you to search for other reports that were created by individuals, right? Super essence of community right there, right? Instead of recreating the wheel, we can search in the Mana database and that will show us other reports. Well, Kelly said, oh, wouldn't it be useful if we just had a link right here on the first page rather than having to click on create from SQL and then come in and hit the drop down to say new from Mana. So it would be really nice if we could just start from this report page and have a link that says new SQL from the Mana database. So that's what we are going to submit. So if you're following along, we're going to come over here and click on that Koha tab. So this is going to allow us to essentially submit our enhancement or bug request within the community. Now for component, this is where it's going to give us a long list of what it pertains to. So this is where we can now come through and we can hit that reports component. And you'll see a long list of things. If you are unsure of what it is, you can always use the IRC channel or Slack or just talk to another individual to get a suggestion of what it could be, and anyone would be happy to help. The next option you'll see here is version. The default is master, which would be the next release. But if it is something that you're noticing that's happening on the release that you are on, you could come in and select that. The next thing you'll see here is summary. And this is nice because as we type the information in here, it will give us predictive text to see if it matches another bug that has already been filed within the community. So we're going to say new link on reports module homepage for new.
I've thought about this for a really long time, Jesse. So maybe my imagination created the bug, or I created it a long time ago when I thought about it, but I hope I didn't already.
I don't see anything yet that's close to it.
Me neither.
SQL from Mana. Okay, so now as we look through, I don't see anything in there that's close. So we're gonna copy and paste that, and then we're gonna come down to description. Now we're gonna give you a few suggestions here. When you're first submitting a bug or enhancement request, it is really important to try and give as much information as you have about this particular enhancement or request. You know, why are you submitting it? What is causing the issue or the dilemma that's causing you to do this? Maybe it takes 5 steps. In our case, it's 2 or 3 extra clicks when it could be just 1 click from that first page. So we're going to come in here and we're going to start. And in this case, we're going to say, it would be great to have a link on the reports module homepage to create a new SQL report from the MANA database. So current steps. And if we go back here, I always like to reconfirm the steps as I'm typing them out. So we would have to come to create from SQL and then hit that drop down to say new from SQL. So if we come back over and we say current steps, navigate to the reports module, click on, now I have to go back and make sure I got my words the same as what we're doing. Create from SQL. And then once we click on that, we hit the drop down for new SQL from MANA. This will help with a few less clicks.
Who doesn't love that?
We love it. So from here, we could add an attachment. So if this was something a little more complex, we could add either a workflow or some images to it. And then the last thing will come down below is we're going to submit that bug. So now we have successfully created bug 36402, which is the link on the reports module homepage. And Kelly and I always like to follow the same bug. So I'm going to actually come over here and I'm going to say add me to the CC. I'm going to come in and add Kelly. And that allows us to click on that. I hit save changes. And now anytime there's an update to that bug, we will get notifications. So this is a really great step that helps us go through that whole process. And we've just successfully submitted a new enhancement request. I'm going to come back over now and I'll show you where you'll be able to see that. So if we come back to our homepage, Kelly talked about this when she was doing the overview. On that first page, you'll actually see any open bugs assigned to you or any open bugs that you've reported. So if I click on that link, I'll be able to come in here and actually see that last one that I reported. So at any given time, I can come back here and see the status of those particular items that we have submitted to the community.
I'm so excited. This is
So
just gonna, we have so many people watching, probably that somebody's gonna patch it before like the end of the day because it's that,
definitely.
it's actually probably pretty easy because it's a link, it's a hyperlink that you just need to add to it, but whatever, it's good.
Yeah. Lucas, Owen, are you out there?
Yeah, come on. Andrew, even?
We need your help. Okay, so now that we've gone through the process, I'm going to pass it back over to Kelly, and Kelly is going to walk us through the sandboxes. So we've given you an overview, we've created an account, we've looked at commenting, we've even created a bug. Now we're going to talk about how we can actually test it.
This is so exciting. The build up. Okay, so we're back to my screen. There are several sandboxes in the community. Ooh, I don't know if that's one of the, yep. So we do have that link that we can share with y'all if you are unfamiliar. There are sandboxes, whether that's through Bywater, and there's other vendors out there. I know PTFS Europe has sandboxes, BibLeave has some sandboxes that you have the ability to, in essence, create your own testing environment. And what it's actually doing, it's pulling in a Koha testing environment and bringing in those patches attached to the bug that you give it and just creating that little environment for you to test. You have a complete Koha instance, but it's dedicated to looking at that specific bug and signing off. So I'm here on the main page. You can see I've already created one, but I just want to show you how easy it is to create. I'm not doing anything techie at all. If I hit that create a sandbox, I'm going to add my name, my email address, give my sandbox a name. It's very simple. The bug number is important because that's the bug number that's going to bring in those patches that have been applied in the Bugzilla. And then the last thing I have to do is answer one simple question. What was the world's first open source ILS? And hope we all know that that's Koha. And then it will tell me that my username and password will be Koha once the sandbox has been created. If I come back, I will see my sandbox created, and it may take I don't know, about 10 minutes to update. Once it's updated, you will get links to both a staff testing environment and the OPAC testing environment. So I spun these up a little early just so we would have them ready for us to go. But you can see the bug here, which I can click over what it is, and then we'll start testing. So this one's called hold starts on date should be limited to future dates. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. I usually like to read the first kind of comment or two and then find the testing plan. So it says, for some reasons, we don't appear to limit the date selection yet available in the OPAC hold start on date. It should only allow for future dates. So my assumption is if I had my hold starts on a specific date, I could actually pick a date in the past, which doesn't really make sense. So Martin here has created a patch, and these are the steps that I'm going to take to test his patch. It says, a lot of the patch, it will have you do the process without the patch itself. I don't know. Do people generally do that? I don't generally do it, but sometimes I do, depending on like, if I don't know what it means, or I'm not really sure what they're trying to do, I may do it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the OPAC and attempt to place a hold. I'm going to go through the steps as a good person. I should just follow the steps. Attempt to place a hold in the OPAC and then say expand the show more options drop down. Perfect. No problem. So I'm going to go to my OPAC. I know my person's already in here because I logged in earlier. I'm going to look for a title. I'm going to try to use one that I haven't used, place a hold. Expand, show more options. Hold not needed after. Okay, no problem. Oops. Note that without the patch, hold not needed after allows setting date in the past. I don't quite see that because I don't have holds not needed. I don't quite see that. But I can't put it in the past, but I'm going to continue on and see what it says. Then it says, turn on these two system preferences, allow hold date in future, OPAC, allow hold date in future. So I'm supposed to enable both those, which means I'm going to go into the staff interface on my testing environment. Allow hold date in future, OPAC, allow hold date in future, OPAC, allow hold date in future, allow hold date in future, allow, save. Okay. Now I'm going to go back to the OPAC and it says that my hold starts on date option should now appear. Okay. Yep. My hold starts on date appear because that's that system preference I just enabled. And your hold placing page. Okay. Note that the above input also allows setting a past date, apply the patch. Now, neither should allow for past dates. So the patch is already applied. So when you run a sandbox, when it says apply the patch is in your sandbox already. I'm going to try to use hold starts on date. I cannot place a date in the past for my holds to start on. So I can only go to the future. Hold not needed. I feel as though this is the opposite of what it's supposed to do because it is letting me go in the past. And the patch is truly to say it shouldn't let me go in the past. Now, when I tried this earlier, this was a tricky one because I said, okay, maybe it's because I didn't refresh it. Maybe I need to grab a whole nother hold because I was like just making sure because I really I really want to make sure that I'm doing all the steps that I need to do. So I'm going to go to a different title. I'm going to go through the same steps, show more options. I have those still same options. Hold starts on date. I can't go to the past. Hold not needed after. I can go into the past, correct? Yeah. Oddly, it's not working as he said, because now I want to just do one thing because I would like to give constructive feedback to what I'm seeing when I'm doing this. So if I come back, hold not needed after, is that a system preference? Using a hold, no hold dates.
And Andrew just said the bug sounds like it's only about the starts on date.
Starts on date. Okay. Well, then it's kind of fixed. Let me just see what this is. No. Now, funnily, look, now it works. So it's something's wrong because, see, oh, and now it's back. So there is something wrong because a minute ago I could click it and I didn't get anything. So I do feel as though, let me go back to the bug if that's what Andrew says. Hold starts on date should be limited to future date. So Andrew's correct. It is focusing on the starts on date, and that is acting correctly. Hold not needed after. Should I file a bug to say that I can do this in the past once the other one is turned on? Because that's really when it started.
Yeah. Can you do a hard refresh here, Kelly?
Yeah. I think it's this one. And I can log out and log back in too.
Yeah, let's try again now that you just changed them, just to try.
Okay.
And then Andrew also said, does the not needed after date picker work correctly without the patch here?
It did seem to. Look, so now it's working.
Yeah.
Again. Oh, no, now it's back.
Hmm.
So I think it has to do with I think they're connected. Because when I first tested this, before I turned the system preferences on, I couldn't go in the past, and I can't go in the past here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to give feedback on here to say, I'm not going to bore you all with what I'm going to say, but in essence, I'm going to say that the hold starts on date cannot be picked in the past, which we saw in both ways, but this hold after is causing a little bit of kerfuffle. Hold not needed after. Now, am I expanding the scope because I'm looking at this one versus the start on? I'm not sure. But I think that if I give constructive feedback to Martin, then we'll be able to move this along. So I will submit some comments to say what I'm seeing with the scenarios that I tested. And that's what I would do is I would just fill out these comments. I feel like there would take a little bit too long to do right here on the live. And then I'm going to say failed QA. And that will go back to Martin and he will be aware that I did it. He'll read my feedback and then he'll evaluate, as well as at any point, somebody else could go in there and test it. It doesn't hurt to multiple people to try it as well.
And what's really good in all test plans, it generally has you perform the task first, which was what Kelly did without the system preferences on, and then went through and tested it with.
Yeah. And I might also try this in Firefox. I'm one of those people, and I think that it's to try to be as thorough as you can with the information that you have. and then therefore giving back feedback. So then the person that's reading what you're saying is happening can digest it and resolve it. So the more information you have given back is really important. When you are done with your sandbox, and we probably have more time, so I'll try to do the next one. But when you're done with your sandboxes, each sandbox host, so Bywater, PTFS Europe, only has a few. So maybe I think there's 5. So when you're done, it is best to come in here and delete a sandbox. So then that spot is open for the next person. So you do have the ability to delete it and get rid of it. You also have some actions that you can perform on your sandbox. So sometimes you'll see some kind of different tasks that they want you to do. You may see something like restart services or something like that. So you do have those actions here. The other thing that there's 2 more buttons. You can renew. You only get your sandbox for probably, I want to say like a day, maybe. Oh, actually, yes, a day, because I created one yesterday. So you could renew, and I think you get just 2 renewals. So you get 2 days. So work quickly, and you can always create another one, but it will go away. And then if you can, and maybe the next one, you can actually sign off in the sandbox, and that will be communicated to what we saw when Jesse showed it, where it was signed off by somebody that's being populated by the sandboxes itself, or a dev box or whatever. So you do have some options there. Maybe I'll leave that other one open and see if anyone wants to try it again themselves. Okay, let's go to the next one. Ooh, we have time.
We have time. I do want to
no
say
questions or anything, right, Jesse? Or okay.
Oh, yeah, I'm just going to say there are a couple comments. So Christopher says, it's important to test behavior without the patch to see if the patch is causing this or not. And then David Nin said, I generally like to replicate the problem, then apply the patch to see if it fixes it. And he's like, I do this even if it isn't covered in the test plan. And those are 2 great options. Kelly and I do the same. Generally, when we're testing things, we will go through and process first and then come in.
And you can do it in your own system, because it's probably something that's actually in your current system that's happening before the patch. So, when you spun it up, the patch is already applied. But if you do it on your own system or another test instance, we always have a demo that you can work on. If there's switching of system preferences that you don't want to do on your own site, you can certainly test it outside. And generally I'll be like, oh, I remember that. I've seen that. Let me try it again and see what I'm seeing.
And if the bug or there's comments in there that says, look at the version you're on, remember to go to your about section to check what version of Koha you're using, or if you're using a sandbox. There's sandboxes like Kelly's showing you that different vendors have. There's also some that are on websites. Just make sure you're using the correct version, or that it's matching what the instructions are.
Yeah, absolutely. So I shouldn't have said I don't do it, because I do, but I just okay, the next one, 34157. I know to be, oh, good. Still on need sign off. Okay. There was some bugs that I was like, I'm not sure I can do on this. So I'm glad I found a few. Okay. So this one is this is 34157. Exporting labels as a barcode range can cause 500 error. This was submitted by Lucas. I think that Lucas always creates a nice little pretty bug when he does a bug, because he always has nice steps. So he says to recreate this issue, make or edit a label layout, choose layout type, select bibliographic data, precedes barcode, choose a new barcode range, choose your range, choose the layout, and then you'll get an error. So let me go down to whoever's test plan. Okay. So before you test, let's see. Before you test, did I pull it up? Okay. No, 34157. I'm going to go into my labels. And how many people do this still? Hopefully not as many as me. Labels lives in cataloging. Add a new layout, including free text. Oh, here, I think. Only bibliographic data. Where does free text live? Let me go back. Add a new layout, including free text. Include bibliographic data precedes barcode. Bibliographic data precedes barcode. Do I just do like this text?
Andrew said, give it a few years, we may yet come to remember the cataloging module exists.
I know. I don't know where free text
I think they're just saying add in text, like add free
added
text.
text. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, like some type of text, like just
Oh, I see. I see.
add
I
something
see.
in. Yeah.
Okay. Not
Heather Hernandez says, clutching pearls.
I don't know what's happening with them. What do you think our barcode range is? I feel like this is telling me to create a report. I think this is a report. Oh. Let's see. No.
No.
Well, I'm just going to do like lots of nines, because that's not going to be in my database range. Find a barcode range that is not currently in your database. I know the barcodes in the testing are like 14 digits and they all are in threes. So if I did 14 nines, I should be fine.
Yeah.
Find another barcode range 2 that is not currently in your database. Okay, perfect. Okay. In Label Creator, add barcode range. Enter your barcode range, the smaller one. Gotcha. Batch. I thought there was a choice for barcode range. Am I being dumb?
Well, can you go back to the add items again?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
New. Oh, here it is.
Oh, this is when we add and switch things.
When you're like, where did it go? Oh. Oh, I haven't gotten there yet. Okay.
There you go.
Okay. Print range. Okay, now I need to use my, oh, let me go to just check. Choose a layout from above, click on export. Test. Download as a PDF.
We do have a question that just came in. Kevin asked, how can one look at the source code for a given patch?
Oh,
He
yeah.
says things.
If I scroll up to this area here, if I go into, this is where all the patches live in what's called attachments. So I can go to the details of that. And so there I can see, is this considered the source code? I think so.
Mhm.
And then you can also look at it as a diff. So what it was before and what it's after. So if the diff looks easier for people to identify, for me, none of this is easy for me to look at, but I know a lot of people like it, but you can see the difference, or you can look at just truly the code itself.
That was a great question.
Yeah, that was we never even talked about that. Sorry about that. It looks like that worked, but I don't know if I'm doing it right. I'm going to the next step.
You didn't get an error.
I didn't get an error. No. Where does the error happen? Redo steps 2 and 3 with the barcode range 2, the larger one, and set the default layout. Keep the barcode range 2, redo steps 2 and 3, but use the layout. Oh, layout with text. Okay. Okay. I think my barcode range is wrong, but I'm going to try the next step. Redo steps 2 and 3 with barcode 2. That is not currently in your database. The second range of numbers should be larger, greater than the max. I feel like I'm doing that.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Koha, I'm making you work really hard.
We haven't gotten an error, just a
spinning wheel,
line.
because I made the biggest range probably. Larger one, select the default. I haven't gotten to the select part. I think I made it too big.
Andrew's like, I'm not sure how many million of labels you just asked for.
But it's only from, yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
only, okay, hold on. Let's do this. I'm glad people are getting a kick out of this. Okay. 7, 7, 7, 8. That's
There we go.
one label, right?
Yep.
Okay. I'm making it smaller, but I don't think so. Less.
If it just spins again, let's do a hard refresh again and just start from scratch and just see.
Yeah. Because the other one time worked. Okay. Hard reset. I hope people don't get, this is super fun. Like, don't feel disappointed that Kelly's failing, because this is like life.
Oh, you are not failing. This is
This
life.
is life. This is what you do.
Yeah, this is what you do.
And truly, if anything, it's going to make you find barcode range a lot quicker the next time you say, oh, I didn't even know we had barcode range. You could make you learn more about Koha that you actually didn't know existed.
Yeah.
My whole system is not working now. I think somebody else is in there doing the same thing, because there was another test.
Okay.
Which is fine. I love it. I'm happy. I'm happy, but.
Well, I think, Kelly, that we're right at the top of the hour now. So this is we've gone through the entire process, getting active in Global Bug Squashing Day, showing you how to use Bugzilla, where to find the information. Don't forget to check the dashboard. We're going to pull that up as we're saying our goodbyes here.
And if you do sign off on a patch, on a bug, know that you get documented in the release notes. So you could get
Yeah.
famous if you do anything and you want your name in print, sign off on one bug. Let us know and we can, reach out to any of us in the community and we'll be happy to help you.
Absolutely. And don't forget, throughout the day, you can come back if you're looking on bugs that need sign off, you can jump right in here. You could use Bugzilla to come in and do a search. You could do a more advanced search and say, just show us things that need sign off. If we come over here and say, we're just looking for items that need sign off, there's another way you can do it. And you could just stay active throughout the day. It's just been incredible talking to y'all and watching, and we're excited to see what everyone does throughout GBSC.
Oh, did we end it? That was it? I can't even see anybody.
They're still here.
Oh, good. I was like, where did my Zoom completely went away?
All right, y'all.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thanks,
for joining.
Elise.
Thank you, Elise.